All right, so I've literally just woken up and I'm super tired, but I'm really excited to go for a surf. The waves actually look good today, which is nice because last time they were very small. So yeah, the plan is go surfing. I'm going to do some work and then go to the gym. I'll take you guys through that. Yeah, I freaking love this lifestyle. I'm all about like creating a life that sets your soul on fire this year and every other year because all I've done previously is just work and grind and hustle and do the path of most resistance to get always trying to chase something and get somewhere and never just focusing on, living a life that actually fulfills you. So this year, that's the vibe, stepping into your power. I believe everything just happens and flows and comes to you when you follow, your dream. So the hardest thing about getting back into training after a long break is literally just getting back into training after having a long break and beating your mind. So yesterday I went to go train and I let my mind get the best of me and I left. So today we're redoing that session and I'm excited because my mindset's been in a really shit place lately and it's good to get back into it. So yeah, we'll be talking shit, hanging out. And I've got a glute focused squat. Today we'll be training glutes and hams. I really like this gym. Probably the best any time I've ever been to. But basically I'm going to use some pads on my shoulders to increase the range of motion. And let's go. So I've warmed up. Set number 1, going straight into it. When I said to you guys, I've missed YouTube so much. It literally killed a piece of my soul to not be making videos, but I just got in the hole of not recording, not pressing record, and then just getting your own head. So yeah, the biggest thing is just like overcoming yourself, basically. The best thing to do if you're taking a big break of training and things feel overwhelming is to go lighter and focus on the mind-muscle connection, and then build up that connection over time. The worst thing you can do is look at the weights you used to do before you took your break and start off straight back from there. That is a recipe for injury and disaster. So drop the ego. Don't be afraid to go lighter. Through that connection you establish, you will make way better gains than just trying to go back up to the old weight. You'll also massively reduce your risk of injury because when we take a break, we not only lose that connection we had with the muscle as much, we lose our awareness around bracing too. So having some pre-activations for your core is a really great thing to add in if you've taken a decent break as well. Honestly, I've been going through some pretty intense, like just mental health stuff lately. I moved to a different city by myself, trying to navigate a lot on my own, growing my business and, adapting to single life and making sure I'm not too loud. Yeah. So I'm going to start some face-to-face training just because I miss it for my soul. And this year, basically promised myself that I would only live a life that sets my soul on fire. So a lot of things had to go and a lot of things are coming in. You're all good. Nutrition wise, yeah, I'm excited to get back into it. I've been tracking protein, but honestly, like since my breakup, a lot of things have fallen out the window, not because I let myself go, but I've just been on this path of discovery where like bodybuilding and body composition have not been the biggest priority. It's been my mental health and just rediscovering who the fuck I am after such a long time of, living with someone else. So yeah, if you're going through similar, it can be really empowering to go out, do different things. Like I started jiu-jitsu, surfing, a lot more hobbies I want to start, but just going to different groups, free events, entrepreneur nights, like reading books, just, rediscovering who the fuck you are again. It'd be very empowering. My intensity isn't quite where it used to be, but we're building back up. The best thing you can have is like self-compassion. When you're starting back as well, your intensity isn't going to be super high. Like you'll just tank out and your endurance will just be capped, but you can build that up over time. If you are starting out, I wouldn't go straight to 4 to 5 days. I would like start with a 3-day split or like every second day full body rotation. And then you can increase your frequency. But yeah, I mean, I would start with full body. I'm just confusing myself. Yeah. So basically we want less volume, but more frequency if you are a beginner. So we target the muscle more frequently with less sets. So today is a very special day because I am starting medication for my ADHD again. It was not an easy decision to make, but things have been a little bit chaotic up here lately. So I think it's time. I was so resistant to it for a while. But yeah, I don't know, when you know you need it, definitely feeling at the moment because I would go in anxiety spirals and kind of get nowhere. Yeah, everyone's got a different opinion on it, but it helps me during acute periods of my life when I struggle to function. Anyways, now we're jumping into a B stance RDL, and I'm doing it with a barbell so I can load on it a bit more. It feels really fucking nice. I'm so excited to show you. So what I normally do is I elevate my feet to get a little bit more depth, and yeah, just feels super nice. Back to the medication thing. I've tried like so many different natural nootropic combos, which work amazingly, but at the point I'm at the moment, I just need to like get some fucking random, like get some structure going in my life, and then I can settle down a bit. But yeah. One of my favorite cues for training that completely changed the game. I don't know if I probably didn't invent it, but something I came up with is to pretend that someone is using counter force. So when I do an RDL, instead of just throwing it up and down, I'm pretending that someone's got their hands on the back of my butt and they're pushing it forward, and I'm resisting against their hands as I push it back. It's a lot easier to embody if you have someone like actually do that on you first with consent. And then try and memorize it rather than trying to think about it if you haven't had someone like push back. The main theme for this year, for myself at least, was creating a life that sets my soul on fire. And also, you are powerful beyond belief. You can't even imagine. And sometimes when you're in a partnership or in relationships, you don't realize your infinite potential. Because like me, I created a bit of a codependency, and then I put someone on a pedestal, and it wasn't actually until we separated that I realized I'm so much more powerful than I ever thought imaginable. Don't judge me. I've got a Coles bag as my gym bag at the moment. If you're someone that's like afraid to get fat and increase your calories, I've got a tip for you. So get yourself like a carb cutter, or if you're kind of, your gut's a bit sensitive, you can use a highly branched cyclodextrin. I'm not sponsored, by the way, but Axe are coming up with a really, really good intro. I'm not supposed to say that, but get excited. Highly branched cyclodextrin or carb powder while you're training. That is going to help you to really recover the muscles and use it as energy. And yeah, it's just a very safe way to kind of bump up your calories if you are afraid of gaining body fat, but you want to add on some. Yeah. The best advice I can give you in training, if you want to grow muscle group, is like really think for yourself. You know, it's all well and good to hire a coach and ask them like, coach, is this right? Especially at the beginning. But after a while, like if you're constantly sending your coach the same exercises, they give you feedback, it's like getting the most value is about learning to think for yourself. So think about, instead of asking them if it's right, like, do I actually feel it in the muscle group that I'm trying to train? Because there's no point in being like, is this good, coach, if you're like training glutes and you don't actually feel it in your glutes? So I want you to try and think for yourself, you know, am I feeling it? That's the biggest thing. And if you're not, my biggest suggestion is break down the set. So instead of viewing it as like the entire set or one set of 12, think about 12 sets of one. Or like, I try and be intentional with every single rep. Go through like a system, a framework for every single rep. So when I'm doing like an RDL, at the top, big breath into your diaphragm, hold your breath, contract your core, you know, and closing up that gap. I'm engaging my lats, I'm keeping everything tight, I'm driving my hips back, engaging the glutes. Like all of this comes with time, and eventually you just add like layers and build upon that to your technique sequence. Don't get too overwhelmed if you're like a beginner. Just now the basics, which is like bracing, and imagine you're grabbing with that muscle slowly. Don't explode through the concentrics. Really use control the eccentrics. And yeah, mind muscle connection, bracing, tempo are the biggest things. And then you just build upon that, and you're fucking sore with your training and your physique. One of the biggest things I would suggest as well, if you're struggling with like your self-concept, your self-worth, whether it's a breakup or not, is just speak to yourself with kindness. Ever since I had like my spiritual awakening and kind of woke up and started questioning everything after my breakup, I picked apart a lot of thoughts that were unconscious, that were very toxic, and I would loop them all day without knowing, you know. I suggest really taking some time to analyze and maybe even write down your thought process. Like, when you do something well, do you congratulate yourself and celebrate and think like, damn, I did a great job? Or do you think, yeah, it could have been better, you know? And I know in us, especially with bodybuilding, like we build this resilience identity, but it's so important to have self-love as well as like a high expectation of yourself. And that's, I think, something that I've seen people, including myself, with a very high expectation of themselves, we also really struggle to cultivate like self-love, especially if you've had like parents that are maybe not so kind in their communication to you. So that's what I mean about like a lot of the inner child stuff I've been doing lately, is just noticing when, instead of being like, oh, you fucked up, you could have been done better, like just these anxious, horrible, toxic thoughts going on all day, I've really been like, you did great, like, fuck yeah, we made it, or I love myself, you know. It sounds super corny, but it actually works, and you feel so much better inside from doing that. And it takes a bit of effort at first, but it's like the gym or riding a bike. Like, it's going to feel like a lot of effort at first, and then it just becomes second nature, you know. Affirmations and meditation, like a year ago I never would have done it, but they've honestly changed my life. Like, they are a 30-minute practice I do every day. I say my affirmations in the mirror with feeling, and I pause and I'm smiling. And when I first started doing them, like, I could not look in the mirror at all. I just couldn't. I found it too cringe. I just couldn't look at myself. And then I went through a period of like actually crying when I did them, because I'd never given that kind of love to myself. And then now they feel very natural, and you only notice them when you don't do them, I find. But yeah, everyone's different with what they need, but they have really worked to help me change my self-concept, alongside being more conscious and picking apart my thoughts and flipping them into more uplifting, conducive ones. So you cannot have the body without the mind.